DC did a cover of Metallica. That'd be weird. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it's just entertainment, just really fast.
Yeah. With like a major chord instead of a minor chord, that'd be wicked. So, okay, go ahead and fade us in, Jackson.
You've been faded.
We were fading in. Lovely. I love my fade. Jeez.
I technically have a fade.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's under the
No
hat,
one
so
on the
we'll
camera
never
can
see.
Holy crap.
Well, Nick, why don't you guys start us off? I'm kind of here just as the tech guy today.
Yeah, all right, I'll kick us off here. Welcome back to the Loch'en Podcast, episode 2. We're going to be talking about some stuff today with post Aetherdrift and see how we feel about that. Our first episode, we talked a lot about that and our feelings on that. And then I think we'll hop into the new Commander bracket system for assessing power curve on Commander decks. And we'll give our thoughts on each individual bracket as we're going forward. My name's Matt.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jackson. We forgot to
Realized
introduce
we did not do that in the first episode, so we'd like to introduce ourselves. We're the Loch'en Podcast. We're going to talk a lot about Magic stuff going forward and tease a few things we got planned for the channel. Small disclaimer, we are recording beneath a cafe.
An active cafe.
An active cafe. The Loch Cafe and Games in Duluth, Minnesota. If anybody wants to stop by and say hi to us, that's where we're located. But we're recording beneath that cafe. So you're going to hear some weird audio stuff pretty much for the next couple episodes because it's during the business hours, so it's a little strange. So why don't we hop on in here and stop wasting any of our time and give some thoughts on the Aetherdrift set and how it drafts and how it feels.
Yeah.
Nick, I know you hosted our draft, so
Yeah, I've posted the drafts now and pre-releases for it. It's a ton of fun. It's a super cool set. I was a little apprehensive at first when I saw it was like a bunch of NASCAR stuff, race car-y theme. I'm like, feels weird for Magic. That's Thunder Junction.
I mean, it's both.
I guess they did have mounts in it as
there
well.
were mounts. That's a thing.
But like once I stopped looking at the lore of it and got into like the mechanics and like how the cards actually played, it's a super sweet set. It's a lot of it's fast Magic, it's super fun. But even if it feels kind of fast, there were a lot of games that were going to turns on pre-release, like both nights.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was weird, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. You know, at first I was very like, this is going to be a terrible set. Another gimmicky thing coming from the top-down controllers of Wizards of the Coast currently. And I was not excited about it. But that's been like the last few sets, in my opinion. Very gimmicky. And to their credit, I'll be honest, a lot of the last couple sets that have come out have proven me wrong. I think there's a lot of super fun stuff that's coming out currently from Wizards and the direction they're going with the set design. So I agree with that sentiment for Aetherdrift as well. I think, you know, we talked about this in the first episode, but once I got out of my own way as like an old head Magic player, the set is super fun, super, super engaging. And I think that's great for especially new players in the community. It's a lot of fun. And that's, I think, what a core value that a lot of people that have been playing for a long time start to lose is like, is the game fun? Are these sets engaging and fun for the community? If the answer is yes, then to me, that's a win. You know, it's
Absolutely.
A good set. So, Jackson, I know you didn't have like a lot of engagement.
Yeah, I
with
didn't play the game.
But, do you have any thoughts at all? Did you ever get your Chandra?
I haven't gotten my Chandra.
Oh,
a couple
no.
people have pulled it, and I was like, that's mine. And they're like, no we
you
bought
can't
the
have
pack. And I was like, I guess that's fair.
What are you even going to do with that if you get it?
I'll put it in the Chandra Oathbreaker deck I have. I
But
have
it
an
doesn't-
Oathbreaker deck that's just all Chandras.
That doesn't work for that deck, though.
Nope, but it's Chandra.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like a dead card because it works with itself.
It's pretty dead.
Because you can use its +1 or 2 ability to make a vehicle, then their passive ability animates said vehicle at the beginning of combat, or it's her 0 ability to make the vehicle. Her plus ability is like a loot effect, so it kind of works. It's not a dead card, but there's definitely better options.
I don't like it, but it's going in the
I
deck.
like it.
We should do an Oathbreaker video.
We'll do some
sometime.
Oathbreaker
absolutely.
content
I
soon.
love
If anybody
Oathbreaker.
knows what Oathbreaker is, or if you need us, we'll break it down.
This
Essentially,
is something
it's
I can
Commander-
actually talk about because I
Yeah.
know something about
Yeah.
it.
Oathbreaker is Commander, but your Commander is a Planeswalker, and it's 60 card singleton instead of 100 card singleton. We have plans to do that on the channel, so stay tuned for that. We'll be teasing a
And
few
20 life instead of 40. The games are
It's-
fast and it's
it's-
awesome.
It's a lot of fun. We'll be teasing some stuff at the end of some future plans for video content that we want to do, though. So stay tuned for that. Anything else about Aetherdrift?
It's a ton of fun. I'm happy with the vehicles.
I
love
think it's
those.
great.
Dinosaurs are good.
I think it's great.
Dinosaurs and cars is pretty sweet.
Yeah, from like a lore standpoint, it's super cool that they used 3 different planes of existence
Yeah.
for one set. I think that's really cool. They brought us back to Amonkhet, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a very beloved set and a beloved plane. Muruganda, I think, is the other
Muruganda
one
was
that they
the third set.
yeah
third spot.
they teased in. I always forget what the heck is that set with. Not March the Machine. What was it?
Brothers War?
No, not Brothers War.
It was after Brothers War. All will be one. No, it was March the Machine.
Yeah.
It was March the Machine.
March.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause
They
then there's
teased it
Aftermath,
because that's when the invasion cards came out, and they teased Muruganda as a plane.
Mhm.
But we never got to go there because it was sort of looked like a dinosaur plane, and Ixalan obviously takes the scope on that. So super cool to see that, and I loved that they had a cycle of generic creatures with no abilities. I think that's fantastic.
And like really weird power
Really
toughness.
super strange stuff. That's like old school Magic to me,
Yeah.
and that was very fun to see. I also do like that they went back to the new name for the
Yeah.
plane. It's not Kaladesh anymore.
The color is the dead name of it.
We can't do it
It's
anymore.
Vishkar.
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 Vishkar?
Vishkar. Oh, Vishkar. I
A
can't
Vishkar,
remember.
whatever.
But
Yeah, we
let's
got
find
to go
out.
back to that, and that's also a really fun set and really fun plane. So great to see that stuff. I still hold my a Vishkar.
Yes.
I still hold true to my core sentiment of I really wish they would go back to blocks of sets that take place in a plane instead of one set per plane per story. You know, back in like 2008, 2010, they were doing at least 3 sets per plane to flesh out the
Right.
story. Phenomenal from a story standpoint. Wizards, if you can,
I think the last time they
hear
did
me?
that was War the Spark. They
or the
did 3
Spark,
sets.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did.
And
they
War the
did-
Spark was like the most hype pre-release and like
Yeah, it was over in
super high energy. Also
Yeah.
because Arena was coming out at that time as well,
Yeah.
so a lot of people are getting into the scene. And a Planeswalker in every pack made a lot of old players come back like,
yeah.
Planeswalker? Like that was the chase card every time, and now they're in every pack, which was stupid fun.
Yeah,
So I love that set.
yeah.
Do
so
it again.
They need to go back and start doing that. And again, they'll never listen to any of us, but you know, reduce the productions and release schedule of your sets and create that FOMO again. If people don't get a set every 6 weeks,
Yeah.
you know, then people want the new stuff even more. So, but I mean, who are we? We're just a bunch of no names right now. So eventually they'll listen to us. No, they won't. So anyway, cool. Let's
we can make them.
let's hop on into this new Commander brackets beta.
Yeah. New stuff.
So
in the world of Magic.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't, I mean, we can run through it. They released this new Commander bracket thing. I think Nick's going to pull it up on the
Yeah.
screen.
Here we have it.
This is essentially Wizards of the Coast's attempt to control the power curve of Commander decks and assist, air quotes,
Yeah.
assist the community in understanding how to match up against similarly powered decks is what I take away from it. So, as the screen shows, there's 5 different tiers of power bracket for Commander, starting from 1 all the way to 5. 5 being obviously CEDH, meaning high competitive. 1 being very, very casual. So, I think let's just start with 1 and run through the different points and see what we think about that. So
Yeah, so tier 1, you got your exhibition decks. It's no mass land denial, so no Armageddons, no Blood Moons. There's a few other ones that'll just blow up all lands or return all lands. You're not going to see any of that.
Is Blood Moon land denial?
It is, because
Yeah.
it's all non-basics are mountains. And so it shuts down decks that don't care about mountains. It's technically mass land denial.
Okay.
But you're also not going to see a bunch of extra turns in there. You're not going to see 2-card infinite combos. You're not going to see game changers, which we'll talk about in a little bit, because these are all going to talk
The
about game
Dropout
changers.
show?
Not the Dropout show. And then you'll see a few tutors. And when they mention the few tutors, that's they're getting at like non-land tutors. So nothing fetching like Fabricate looking for artifacts. You're going to see maybe a Fabricate, but you won't see like a Whir of Invention alongside the Fabricate. Or Enlightened and Idyllic. You won't see a ton of these tutors grabbing the same thing every single time. Step up from that will be your tier 2, your core sets, your core decks, I should say. That's going to be the average pre-constructed deck. Again, no mass land denial, no chaining your extra turns, so you might have like a Walk of the Aeons. But like that's it. I like that card a lot. It's one of my favorite cards in Magic.
It's fun. Yeah.
You won't see those 2-card infinite combos. You won't see any game changers still, and you'll still have a few tutors, which all that feels very similar to the exhibition, but it's that deck is more geared up for what's happening. Like, you're going to have answers to a bunch of things, but you'll still have quite a few pet cards and just things that you're like, yeah, that's just a fun include for Commander as a whole. Step up from there, we got Tier 3, upgraded to your Precon deck, but just a little bit better. Maybe you bought the Precon, added a few cards of your favorites, taking out some of those pet cards that Wizards like, yeah, we should just run that in there. But you're like, no, we can put a Aetherdrift in there.
Why not, right?
Because Tier 3, you can have up to 3 game changers, and Aetherdrift happens to be one of those game changers that we're talking about. You can have a late game 2-card infinite combo in the Tier 3. That's basically saying anything after turn 6, free game. But they're saying if you're playing at a Tier 3 table, you shouldn't be winning in turn 4 or 5. Unless it's just you like hitting somebody in the face a bunch. No chaining those extra turns and no mass land denial still. Then you get to Tier 4, and that's your high power. There are no restrictions other than the ban list. Do whatever you want. Everyone's going to be playing with that high power stuff. Everyone's going to be kind of sitting at that mentality of winning's part of the game, but don't really care a whole lot. And then CEDH is same kind of thing as Tier 4. No rules kind of thing, but everyone's going to have a deck that's geared up for a tournament play style. So you're having cards in there like Consign to Memory is a card I think of a lot. You see that in CEDH lists, but you don't see a lot in normal EDH lists. It's an uncommon counter target activated ability.
It's fair.
Useful card, but not always useful at like a casual table.
Yeah.
So I think this kind of breakdown helps guide the finding the gameplay experience, is what I believe Gavin mentions in his article about it.
Sure.
Where he talks about it's less of your deck's power and more of what you're trying to do with your deck. Because like I have a Tier 4 Flubs the Fool deck that could be played at CEDH, but I don't play CEDH, and so it just sits in Tier 4 because it's a high-powered deck that runs Thoracle Underworld Breach combo. So I'm like, I'm not going to sit down with people with precons and go, yeah, you guys are going to have a fun time.
This is going to be a good time for you.
You're going to sit there watching me for 30 minutes.
This is going to make you want to play Commander.
And I might win.
No.
There should be like a tier. This should be a 6 tier because there should be a Tier 0 of just actively just jumbled up cards together.
Well, that's Tier 1.
Yeah, but Tier 1 says few tutors, ultra casual. There's got to be like a strength of like less than casual, like actively bad, no tutors, nothing good. Or how good can you make a deck as technically a Tier 1?
Oh, you can make
it's kind of fun as well.
So that's thanks for bringing that up, because I've seen a lot of posts on social media around there that people are like, oh yeah, I've made my mono black Yawgmoth Thran Physician deck a Tier 1 deck by pulling all the tutors out. They've pulled all their game changers out. And the guy who I was looking was like, yeah, I dropped 2 cards and it's a Tier 1. So like there are going to be bad actors out there. There are going to be people who take their Tier 4 deck and just go, oh, I'll just take all of those things out and just go, oh, it's a Tier 1.
It's a Tier 1.
You can't
got few
complain.
tutors, no game changers, no infinites.
I mean, the fact that you
crap.
say Yawgmoth is like,
Yeah.
what?
Exactly.
Okay.
And so, like, I think that really focuses on, like, I think Gavin even mentions it in the article that there are going to be people who lie to you about what your power ranking is.
Yeah.
And so it really just comes down to this is helping you navigate that Rule 0 conversation better than going, oh yeah, here's my Rune of the Hidden Realm deck that's a Tier 4 because I loop Walk the Aeons. I could sit down and go, yeah, no, this is Tier 4 because I'm going to win 3 infinite turns. Rather than sitting down and going, oh, this is how the deck plays, this is how I'm going to play it. So it just helps find those random tables at like a game store if I show up on a Wednesday night kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what tier are we playing here?
Wednesday nights when we have Commander.
That is when we do Commander.
Shameless plug. Wow.
Shameless plug.
Shameless. Or if you're trying to find
Unlock your nerd.
If you're trying to find a power curve at like let's say a tournament at a convention of some kind,
Yeah.
like maybe a gaming convention in your local town.
If only we had one of
If only
those.
we have one of those here
If
In
only.
Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah, Duluth, Minnesota.
In
Look it up.
August.
You'll be fine. Anyway, sorry, that is just the worst shameless plugs. Whatever.
I'm all for
Just
it.
smile in the camera. Smile and wave, boys. Oh, sorry. I missed my cue. Missed my own cue. Okay. Well, I think each one of us probably has a few thoughts on this. I like that they're trying to do this, but I also find it interesting that there's a certain aspect of human nature, like we just touched on, that people can tweak a deck and it still technically becomes a level 1 or a bracket 1, and it can still absolutely decimate everyone around it. So I like that they've labeled the Commander bracket system as a beta test, because I think in an article I read, they mentioned they would be shocked if it was perfect right off the rip. It will not be. There's people that have probably already found ways to break this entire system just by, like you said, dropping 1 or 2 cards from a singular deck. So I think it's really good that they're trying to make it easier for people to understand what the table looks like that they're walking up to, instead of rolling the dice and seeing if they can sit down at a table that's not going to absolutely annihilate them, and then make them not want to play Magic anymore, which is not what we're looking for. You know, as Magic players that have been playing for more than a year, we want more people to play Magic, you know, desperately.
We need more people.
So my generalized over. Are you saying over there?
Just quoting the Goonies movie, I believe.
Oh, okay.
One of us.
One of us, yeah. I like the feel of this. I think it's a great idea. It's going to take so much work to make it effective enough, right? To make it actually fit into the Magic community. I think running through each individual one super quick, each one of our thoughts on each one. We did the generalized breakdown of what they are. You know, I'll just run through my list really quick. I don't think I need to touch on 4 and 5. That's very self-explanatory. All of us have 4 decks. Like it's a thing. And if people play CEDH, you have a 5. Like it's a thing. So
did it.
Those 2 brackets I think are pretty self-explanatory, and I actually don't think they need any altering at all. So I think that's perfect. But you know, starting from 1 to 3, no mass land denial for all 3 of those first 3 brackets makes perfect sense. Most veteran players understand that land destruction or land denial is not a fun thing to play against. Nobody likes it, and if you're playing that, you're just trying to lose some friends. So
I like it.
We know Jackson.
Well, that's why you're over there. Just kidding. We love you, Jackson.
Don't you lie to me.
For exhibitionists, you know, no 2-card infinite combos, that is such a hard thing to not have in a deck. You know, I cannot tell you, each one of us at this table right now has accidentally done 2-card infinite combos in almost every deck we've probably ever made. It's just kind of a thing that sort of happens.
Mine were never accidents.
Yeah, I know, Nick. Good Lord.
Yeah, me and Nick kind of optimize our decks
Yeah,
as
you
much
do.
as possible.
You do. I like where they're going with it, you know, because if you're new to Magic and you get infinite comboed with even just 2 cards or even 3 cards, it really doesn't feel good, you know. Even as a veteran player, somebody infinites and it's like, well, okay, go again, you know, kind of thing. Something I want to touch on really quick is specifically defining what exactly is a game changer. What do we have there? So if we can run through that quick, so everybody understands, like, this is what they're defining as a game changer. I'll let you hop in and kind of run through that next.
Yeah. These are the first 40 game changers that they've kind of come up with through a lot of just talking with different EDH people, different content creators, different crews. And the main thing to like take away from like the game changer list is that this is not a ban list. It's more of like a restricted list. It just kind of forces, if you play these, it forces your deck into a certain bracket because these cards alter the way a game runs. Like a big one for me, that first one in white, Drannith Magistrate, is a huge game changer.
Yeah, that's potent. 1
generic and a white, drop a little human wizard down. Players can't cast, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. Which for commander heads at home, that means you can't cast your commander.
Yeah, that's toxic.
Yeah. Like very recently I had a game where somebody who sat down with it, played Drannith Magistrate turn 2, and I just scooped.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm like, nope, I ain't playing it. I'm not doing this. Luckily that guy was like, yeah, that's fair. I should probably fix that up. But like a lot of these, like I play a lot of Cyclonic Rift. I play Expropriate in a lot of things. Both those cards don't necessarily like win me the game. Expropriate oftentimes does because it's 9 mana. If you give me 2 things and I have an extra turn, I'm going to win. But like Cyc Rift doesn't win you the game, but it sets you up to win really nicely. Mystical Tutors, Fierce Guardianship, Force of Will, both are free counterspells that you could just slot in any blue deck. The
Heuristic Study is an interesting one to me because, just like you touched on, it doesn't necessarily win you the game, but it puts you in a position where you are heavily,
absolutely,
you know, advanced over your opponent. Just constantly drawing cards, getting you to where you need to be. If no one has a way to get rid of it, which in casual format, you know, a lot of people don't think about that kind of stuff. Like, I need to get rid of this Heuristic Study right away before it gets him too much of an advantage.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one to have on the game changers list, but it's accurate.
Oh, absolutely. And then right below that, we got Thassa's Oracle, one of like
Oracle,
the most consistent ways to win the game nowadays.
Yeah.
Is Thoracle and ad nauseum kind of thing. You can win pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So like a lot of these are more of like I've heard it called more of like a watch list for like what could be getting banned. Like this is more of these are causing problems. We know that they're kind of a problem. Like Rhystic Study, I think, is a perfect example of that. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan for it because I play it in so many different decks.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
But like I would not be offended if they banned it. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. It changes.
I'd be a little offended.
I'd be offended, but like it makes sense at the end of the day.
Yeah, I consider something like that definitely like a game-changing card, but I don't think it's on the level of like this is going to get banned eventually because it's too impactful. It's when you start getting past those first two levels of the commander bracket into like the upgraded and maybe even optimized. Once you get to that point of having decks like that, most people understand that there are certain things you should probably respond to, and that is one of them.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's a game changer for sure, but it's not the end all be all of cards. And it in those levels of play 3 and 4, you know, you're going to see people that are going to immediately respond to that. So I don't think it's that big of an issue.
Yeah.
But other cards on there, like I'm looking at like Jin Gataxia, Core Augur, and Vorinclex. Man, those are just. That's hard. That is hard to deal with, especially Jin if it stays on the field for what is it at the end of turn.
This is the Jin
That's the OG Jin.
Cuts your hand down.
Yeah,
these are both the OG.
Is it cut down to 0 or 1?
It is hand size is reduced by 7 if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah. Jesus.
So like if you don't have a max hand size thing coming in right afterwards,
Yeah,
or
you're done.
hand size increaser on the timestamp after him, you're screwed.
You're playing off the top of your deck. And Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, OG Vorinclex, man, that is nobody likes that.
That's as close
That
to
is
mass
like-
land denial as you can get without being mass land denial.
It's horrific. It's horrific. Those are the kind of cards that I'm like, if you're not playing in a 4-pod, like you don't want to see that.
No.
Nobody wants to see that. That's really, really hard to deal with. So yeah, this is a cool list, starting list for like what is considered game changers. And hopping right back into my little bracket of talking about the different systems here. I do like that exhibition level does not have any game changers because it creates a much more inviting right off the rip experience for those new Magic players. You know, not having to deal with super high powered cards right off the rip. That's not fun. Nobody wants to do that.
Or even for like people who've been playing forever, like your meme joke deck of oops, it's all horses.
Yeah.
Perfect spot for it. You're not going to run into somebody psych rifting your Shadowfax. It's the only horse I can think of right off the top back.
Few tutors. As a person who is vehemently against tutors outside of land tutors, I think few tutors is fine. You know, I think people that run tutors are looking to learn the game more in depth, and having tutors in an exhibition deck is a good thing because it can teach you, like, you know, what is the good thing to tutor for kind of thing. So I think that's fine. You know, I think that first bracket's pretty good. I don't think there's really a whole lot of changes that need to happen there. Next bracket up, number 2. I mean, what's the major difference here? You know, still no game changers, no 2-card combo infinites, and no chaining extra turns, but you can still have extra turns.
I think maybe what they mean by core is like this is a deck that does something.
It does
like
something,
it does
right?
one or it does like 2 to 3 things.
Yeah.
But it does something. Like
Yeah.
you knew what you were putting in there.
Every
Whereas
pre-con,
exhibition can just be shuffle cards.
Yeah, whatever. I found this cool. I'm gonna put it in. Right. Don't care if it's optimized. Don't care if it even works. But it looked cool.
Yeah, look cool.
Yeah. So that's a great assessment of that.
yeah, that's
you know,
what the
core.
exhibition, like the theme decks.
Yeah. So the assessment that the bracket 2 core is like, now you're at the point where you've played the game for a minute, you have direction, like you're trying to go somewhere with this and do something a little bit more complex with the deck. So no chaining extra turns, I think, is an interesting assessment, because everyone would assume that chaining extra turns means you're teetering towards that competitive side. So still no mass land denial. I think that's great, you know, for even the first 3 brackets. That really shouldn't be a thing. No game changers. I don't know if I agree with the no game changers thing, because, you know, once you get to a core deck and you have direction and you're trying to do things, maybe 1 game changer or 2 game changers in a core deck would be fine, because you're experimenting with like what looks good, what doesn't look good, how do I feel about this game changer ranked card in this deck.
Well, I think what they mean by that is it says at the top the average current pre-constructed deck.
Sure.
So you're not going to have those game changers in any of those pre-constructed decks.
That's a fair point.
So because I think as soon as you add a game changer, that brings it into an upgraded or optimized by definition.
Which is fair. I mean, I agree with that. But I also think about the precons they've been releasing lately.
They've been
They're
kind of crazy.
Pretty crazy. The Aetherdrift zombie deck comes to mind.
Oh my god!
Holy moly, that deck is cracked. Absolutely cracked.
Though notably, no game changers on it.
No game changers.
No game changers in it.
As of right now.
So if there was, it'd be upgraded.
You'd be upgraded.
You'd be upgraded over the box.
Wouldn't be a precon anymore.
Wouldn't be a pre. I mean, no. Not at all.
But I think a note on that one of the whole like, oh, maybe one or two. Like this is that like one of my favorite quotes from Pirates of the Caribbean is it's less of a rule set and more of a guidelines.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Like you could walk up to a table like, oh, what bracket is this? Like, oh, we're doing bracket 2. It's like, oh, okay. I have a Psych Rift in my new Saheeli deck. Is that okay?
Have they done a Pirates of the Caribbean Secret Lair yet?
I don't think so.
You have to know they will.
I don't know if they will. It's been too long now.
They've done Pirate Secret Lair already, and they did Assassin's Creed on it.
Boo.
Before the Assassin's Creed Universe Beyond.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just
There's
saying.
an Edward Kenway that's just a reskin of Admiral Beckett Brass.
What's something that you want to see in Secret Lairs? I know this is a very big side tangent.
Side tangent.
But I'm
in Secret Lairs, I'd like to see them go away.
Moving on.
I like Secret Lairs.
I think they're funny.
I think Secret Lairs are fun.
I don't think they deserve
don't-
an entire set a lot of the time.
No, and that's my hang up. I don't
Yeah.
know that them releasing the mini sets of like Secret Lair-esque styled things.
Release a couple reskin cards and throw them in like a box, like
Yeah.
they did with the Jurassic Park. That's fun.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's great.
I like new arts for existing cards. So
That's what I mean.
sweet.
What do you want as that Secret Lair?
I guess I don't know. I haven't really thought much about that.
We'll have an answer by the end of the episode.
That's tall order, man. I'm trying to focus. on what we're doing.
Do it while me or Nick talk.
Trying to get to upgraded here,
trying to
folks.
get to
Okay,
upgraded.
upgraded. Okay. Sorry, I haven't.
He's derailing me. He's derailing me. So anyway, that's my thoughts on core. Upgraded again, no man last denial and no chaining extra turns. I think that's totally fine. And then giving people access as a guideline to using somewhere between 3 game changers, 2 to 3 to 4 game changers. Again, it goes right back into what you mentioned, Jackson. Is now you've gotten to the point where like you've played for a while, you found a theme that you really like, and now you're going to lean into it. And but it's not like high-powered CDH. You haven't dropped $1,000 on this deck, but you have some combos that are like, oh, this is really spicy. I really want this in this deck. So I think that's really great. The third bracket looks pretty solid to me, in my opinion. I don't know that there's any changes needed to happen there. But again, as Nick so eloquently pointed out, it is a guideline, And the next thing is, we mentioned earlier, it's a beta test. We have no idea how this is going to affect Commander as a whole. I think a lot of people that have been playing for a long time are just going to still do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy to sit down with my exhibition Slimefoot deck at a table against 3 other people playing CDH. Like, I don't care. It makes no difference to me. I'm going to play the deck I want to play, whether I win or lose. So, but I do think it's an interestingly good idea. To bring a bracket system to Commander. So
I think it's also important to like keep in mind that this is very, very dependent on where you play Commander. If you're sitting at your kitchen table with all your buddies every 2 days to play Commander, you guys don't have to care about this. It's if you go to a game store to sit down with random people you've never met before, go to a con to play in their free play area, like MagicCon Chicago is where they're like debuting this bracket system. They're going to have like portions of their play area just designed to be, you're going to try new brackets.
cool.
Go have fun. Go bring a tier 1 deck to this table. Which I think is pretty sweet.
That is pretty
cool.
cool.
Go to Chicago Con, but I'm like, no, it's so expensive.
It's a little expensive to go to Chicago. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for this, just as like an event coordinator type situation.
Yeah.
Potentially be like, hey, we're having tier 3 and lower Commander night.
Yeah. And that kind of stuff from a shop standpoint is pretty cool, because you could say Wednesday nights is tier 3 or less. And then, we throw into a rotation on a Friday, like Friday is 4 or above.
Yeah.
And it could be a paid entry kind of thing. Then there's prize support and all that jazz.
But
So
otherwise, play whatever you're gonna play.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's a cool thing that I think LGSs can also utilize. So Yeah. I know I talked an absolute crap ton there. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this bracket system?
I mean, going from like tier 1, 2, and 3, I really like them as that like clear line of what is casual commander. Of the you're not running the big bad game changers all the time. You may have 3. I'm like, hey, yeah, heck yeah, go for it. Run your 1 Dranic Magistrate. I'll run 6 more pieces of removal next time I play against you, just to make sure it's gone. Because that's a common argument too. With, like a lot of game changer pieces, like, oh, just run removal. It's like, okay, but then half my deck is removal. And if your game changer's your win con, you're just going to run a bunch of counter magic to not make my removal. So I'm wasting a lot of resources. And then you just get into CDH games where you're just spending resources to try and win. Wait, that's just magic.
Yeah, I was going to say,
That's
I was
just
like,
magic,
that's
man.
not.
I don't know.
Anyway, I just like the more defined line of what is casual magic from tier 3 and lower and what is more competitive sided. More like winning is a bigger part of the goal of playing.
Yeah.
Because like if I sit down with a pre-con, I don't care if I win. I just want to try it out. Just be like, let's see what Wizards can do with deck building here for me.
Yeah, for sure.
$45.
Right. Yeah. Jackson, what do you think? How do you feel about it?
I think with this rule set, and I've been thinking, my Quorum deck that I have is a level 1.
The Jund guy?
Yeah, my Jund guy that
Jund
lets me
graveyard.
grab stuff out of graveyards.
Don't you have Praetors in that deck?
Nope.
Don't you have? I thought you had Vorinclex in that deck.
I don't own a Vorinclex. Actually, I do. It's in the cube, but nothing leaves the cube.
Nothing.
Nothing leaves the cube.
Nothing.
Well,
Resistance
that
is
cube was
futile.
that cube was a gift, so nothing.
Yeah, that's
leaves it.
fair.
Nothing
Nothing does
ever
leave that
leaves.
No.
Okay, I thought you had the Praetors in that deck. Oh, okay. Cool.
Nope.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
It'll be interesting to go through the pre-constructed decks that we all have and be
Yeah.
like, I wonder where this falls.
It's not an it doesn't play like an expert. It still runs at a 4 for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I've lost to that very quickly.
I've lost several times to it.
Yeah, man.
And every time I'm like, this deck's not that. Like, I look through the cards individually, and I'm like, this is not that strong.
But then
it
all
just
of a sudden,
the
Cor's
value.
swinging for 14.
I think it's just there's a crap ton of ramp and then big cards, and
Yeah.
there's just not enough removal to deal with it early on in our tables.
I'm just gonna run Bajuka Bog in every single deck.
Yeah, I mean,
Every single
you
deck.
should
Why would you
always run Bajuka Bog.
What?
Why would you ever run Graveyard Hay?
Why? Oh, I don't know. Goif man, get out of here. Get out of here with that.
One of my favorite
Jeez.
decks is Deesa the Restless.
So nuts got him.
Okay.
You got me.
Family friendly. Come on now.
I hardly know her.
Okay. I can't believe you actually did that, Joe.
I said I was going to,
Yeah, you did.
and we did.
You did. Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting time for Magic. You know?
Absolutely. I'm excited.
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be and I talk about this a lot, and it's a core value of mine. Is like it's going to be great to help new players engage with the community as a whole. And that's something that I think we all can share, is that we want more players to enjoy Magic versus what a lot of people I think have a preconceived notion of is Magic is very complicated and I don't want to lose right away without understanding even what's happening. So I think this will help a lot with that and really get people more interested in the formats and stuff that we're doing. So
Hopefully.
that's sort of the new commander bracket system. I think it's a great system,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see where they go with it. So, any closing thoughts on the brackets at all? Do you think there should be more brackets? Do you think there should be less?
I think 5 is a good number. Because I remember reading Gavin Verhey's article, and he was talking about how they had toyed with doing 3 of just the casual, competitive casual, and then true competitive. And then there's the, CDH is its own bracket. Why not just make it its own format kind of a thing? But it's like, it's just Commander with a different mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that was my biggest takeaway from this new bracket system, is that it's helping you figure out not the power of your deck specifically, but how you want your game to play.
Yeah.
Because like the deck I keep bringing up, and it's simply because Moxfield, a website I use to do all my deck building, added brackets, like little notes to every deck now. And so it said that my Rune the Hidden Realm deck that loops infinite turns to win was a tier 2. I was like, no shot, because I have game changers, I have infinite turns.
It's beta test.
But it was really funny, because I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to really think about, okay, what does this deck truly want to do? How does this deck want to win? How am I going to be playing these different lines to better like help the table know what kind of experience to expect from my deck specifically?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go through all of my lists and figure out where they all lie.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I thought I'd just add too while you were talking about that is like we have commander decks for borrow at the shop. That anyone can come in and just pick up and play. So if you don't have a commander deck and you want to come hang out with us and play, you can take a bunch of our decks that we have cultivated here at the shop. But yeah, going through those decks and maybe even putting a label in the front of each deck, being like, hey, this is a tier 1, this is a tier 2.
Yeah,
so
that'd be fun.
A group of people can come in and pick up a set of tier 3 decks and go and play and have that close experience of what they were looking to have. Without having to wonder, like, is this gonna play out like one person gets an optimized tier 4 deck and we all have tier 2s?
Somebody grabs Wasatora against all the Boomborough lists.
If we were to do that, I think it'd be fun to then like classify them as far as like complexity of the deck.
Yeah.
Like Goreclaw is a complexity 1. It's simple, anybody can pick it up.
Straightforward.
Perfect.
Whereas
perfect.
I think you have the counters lady. What's her name?
Atraxa?
Yeah, you have an Atraxa deck.
Yeah.
Probably not a difficulty 1 card.
A quick note on the Atraxa deck in the shop.
It's not.
It's not your normal Atraxa.
It's not what you think it is.
It's Spore Counter Atraxa. It's such a fun time.
The longer we do this podcast, everyone will start to realize that I have like a weird obsession with the fungus cards.
I'm gonna grab something real
Spore
quick.
counter card. Jackson, don't do this.
I'm doing this.
Jackson,
I'm outing
please.
you on camera.
Come on, no.
We're outing him on
Dude,
camera.
you hid it from me.
No, I did
All right.
not hide it.
You hit it. It's a story time.
So
I was just gonna point out the mushroom that's in our background too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his name is Ferguson, and he was in one of the D&D episodes that I never finished the full edits and have lost the footage of now.
Gone to the gods.
But this is Ferguson. We love Ferguson. But I have here a playmat.
Okay.
Matt's favorite playmat in the world, because he lent it out to a customer and he thought that customer stole it. I was just doing some cleaning, looking for a cord down here that I need for the setup, and I found it. And he never thought to check the shelf where we put all the stuff down here.
I looked.
No, he did not.
Maybe not with my eyes.
It was sitting like right there.
Maybe in the dark. I don't know.
For those of us potentially listening,
I
and not
bought him a
watching,
new one for Christmas.
It's a Slimefoot.
It's a
stowaway
Slimefoot playmat.
He's my favorite slimy boy. All right, come on.
At one point or another, we had 4 commander decks in the shop that were Slimefoot the stowaway.
Oh, every deck has Slimefoot in it.
It's not a joke. Every deck has.
Secretly, he's the secret commander.
He's
Every
always
commander
lurking.
deck I have.
And you almost got 2 Slimefoot playmats because Bethan was going to buy you the same one.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, she was also going to buy.
Dude, I could start a collection of Slimefoot playmats. We could have a play set of Slimefoot playmats.
To go along with your playset of Slimefoot.
To go with the gauntlet.
Oh god, everybody has a Slimefoot
Anyway, I'm
playmat.
Jackson.
Everybody has a Slimefoot playmat.
Correct, that is Jackson.
I'm Jackson. That's
We're not done.
Nick.
We're not done yet.
Oh,
This guy's giving us an outro. We haven't even finished the video yet.
what do we do?
We wanted to tease some stuff for future content.
Oh yeah, more content.
Yeah.
I'm Jackson.
Okay, this guy. So yeah, that's our thing. We can finally say we're concluding our thoughts on the new commander brackets. Let us know what you think about these brackets. Comment system. The comment section. The section.
Ask us questions in the comments. We will answer them.
Yeah, we'd love to see more comments. What do you guys think of this system? How do you think it's going to affect Magic as a whole going forward? We'd love to know.
What's a tier 1 commander you want to try?
What do you want to try? What's a tier 1 commander and what's a tier 5 commander?
Or
That'd
tier
be
4
fun.
if you're not a CADH.
Yeah.
Tier 4 works.
So, some future content. We're going to try and ramp up production here on the YouTube channel. We are trying to make this channel more family-friendly focused and pretty heavily centered around Magic. That we might splice in a few other tabletop games here and there. But,
I like D&D.
Magic is going to be probably the major focus. D&D for sure. I have never played D&D before.
We're gonna fix that.
So we're going to try to fix that. I have terrible stage fright. While we're recording this video, my insides are shaking because I'm nervous. I don't like talking on camera. I don't like being on camera. But I'm trying. So we're
doing great.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. So hopefully I can hop into my first official D&D campaign in the next 2 to 3 months, 6 months. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get you in there.
However we can do it.
That's a timeline.
And actually see what we can do with that. That'd be a lot of fun. Some super soon potential future content is we're going to try and run this format that is pretty not known.
Mm-hmm.
It's a format that's played by a pretty set of competitive players over on the West Coast-ish area called Gauntlet.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'll refer to it as. It's essentially 6 decks, commander decks that are all singleton. Traditionally, it's Canlander, but we don't really do Canlander between us that much. That's not really a thing. Canlander does exist at the shop, but it's not through us. But it's 6 commander decks that are all singleton across all 6 decks. So none of the decks can share cards. That means 1 Soul Ring for 6 decks. That's crazy. Super fun deck building challenge. 4 of us here at the shop made gauntlets and are excited to start recording that content. So stay tuned for that. I think it'll probably be up in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get that done. And then as Jackson mentioned earlier, we really don't want to do some Oathbreaker too. That is a super fun format that's very quick, very engaging, and it has a super cool thing that includes planeswalkers, which I think is kind of nowadays, planeswalkers are a little bit skirted to the sides of Magic. But we still love them. Jackson has a multiple personality Chandra deck that we talked about earlier, which is hilarious.
Chandra
We love it.
schizophrenic super
Schizophrenic
friends.
Super
There we
Friends.
are.
That's just the story of Chandra.
As a fun
Yeah.
fact, I don't think Jackson has ever lost with that deck.
No, I've lost with it.
Okay, I didn't know. I've never won against
Uh,
Jackson.
Somebody.
Was it me?
Yeah, it
Did
was.
I infinite combo with my goblins?
You did. That's what it was. But I've lost with it a couple
Yeah.
times.
I thought he was having multiple personalities through Chandra and through him, forgetting who has won and who has lost. But anyway, yeah,
Goblin
super fun content we got coming up. So stay tuned to the channel. Again, we're going to try and keep videos coming. So if you want to like and subscribe and keep watching what we're doing,
Yeah.
we'd really appreciate it. I'm Matt.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jackson, but you already knew that.
You already knew that. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Are they gone?
No, they're still here. Their eyes are just closed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does anybody else feel like they're going to throw up?
What?
Have we drawn them?
I got it. I'll get the Sharpie. Where's the Sharpie?
Where's the Sharpies at?
Shun the non-believers!
Shun the non-believers! Shun them!